settled in, but I think apparently the worst is yet to come. Apparently, we've got a Arctic blast, as it's been dubbed, on its way. Set to, I think, hit the UK this week, if it's not hitting it already at some point, which is going to make things, I think, a lot more interesting. Certainly when it comes to... Oh, and we're back. Oh, but yes, certainly when it comes to the cost of living crisis, I think it's going to be... It's a daisy. It's going to be very, very interesting when it comes to things like that. That is certainly for sure. Oh, Nico, hello there. Good morning to you. Like I say, good morning to everyone else joining us this fine, very cold morning. Good morning, Dave. Good morning to you. It is very, very frosty. The ground is completely frozen over. Pretty Bird, greetings to you. Nick B, good morning. No snow. No. At least certainly not here. That's for sure. Kath OG, good morning to you as well. Like I say, the ground is absolutely rock solid this morning. So at least it makes it a bit somewhat easier to navigate-ish. Oops, a daisy. But yes, I had to play Swan Rescue yesterday. Dave, you've got a bit of dusting of snow here. Just a dusting though, yeah. I think the worst is yet to come, I think, in terms of snow we're going to get here. Chthonic, good morning to you. Of course, Chthonic being from Canada probably just thinks this is, this is probably a tropical climate compared to what it's like in Canada at the moment. But yes, so yeah, where to begin this morning? Where to begin? I think I want to start off with Germany, because oh my word, the situation in Germany is, good lord. I don't think anyone saw that coming. And the more you read into the situation, the stranger it becomes. Oh, I think good morning from New Zealand. Good morning to you. Colin Thompson, greetings to you as well from New York. Yeah, Nika, yeah, a truly international audience. As always. But that's the power and the magic, of live streaming. But yeah, wow, first of all. Wow. So, for those of you who probably saw it, I was like, when I first saw it, I think it was on Thursday, and it was just like, attempted coup in Germany, plotters arrested. And I was like, what? Just, what? And it's insane, to think that there would even be an attempted coup. Colin, as a Canadian, I can say that the UK is never really cold. Yeah, another pooch. But yeah, this entire movement, this Reichsbürger, as it's called in Germany, it seems very, very, very much reminiscent, sort of in some places resembles the sovereign citizen movement that you see in America, where they refuse to pay taxes to the German government because they consider it to be completely illegitimate. And this is where it gets crazy, because they weren't, wanting to sort of replace the government and, get some, more far right, shall we say, people in. Oh, Cavalan, good morning to you from very snowy Edinburgh. Good morning to you. They weren't just wanting to put, a right-wing government in charge. They were fully wanting to essentially restore the Kaiserreich and re-establish the borders of essentially 1891 Germany. So I think in a big part of their movement is like to re-establish like the state of Prussia as well within Germany, because that was one of the things that got disestablished after the Second World War. But yeah, they wanted to go like, we want to completely restore the monarchy and have, like a restoration of the monarchy. And they had a guy set up to be regent and everything for it. So they were like, yeah, down with democracy. We want, we want to bring back, we want to bring fully back the Kaiser. We want the Kaiserreich back. We want Imperial Germany back. And I think when you look at it, they really, the more that news that has come out of it, and even news reporters themselves that have reported on this. Oh, Fatgasm, good morning to you. I think it's been incredibly crazy. We've seen news reporters commenting about this, and even they have been like, this movement has been seen as, crackpots for years in Germany. And yet they were generally attempting to plan, a coup. Now, I think it's certainly worth, pointing out, they would have never have succeeded in a month of Sundays when it came to this. Because there's only, I think, they had like a registered number of like, or at least the German government believes that there's like only like, 21,000 people or something like that in sort of the entire movement. But what is certainly worrying was certainly where some of these people were coming from. Because I know that they arrested a couple of people, within the army. There was like a former AFD member who was serving as a judge in Berlin. So arrests for this have happened all over the country, and not just in Germany, but in Italy and Austria, I believe, as well. So this movement has been very, very spread out. So could they, I think one of the things people are going to say, could they have ever have succeeded in any way, shape or form? Absolutely not. No way. I think German democracy is certainly very, very, very strong. I think it's just shown to you how really strong, democracy and sort of the belief in democracy really is in Germany, which is good. because the whole point of their movement is that, you know, democracy has sort of, you know, failed Germany. It's a failed experiment, and we need to bring back, you know, the king. We need to bring back, you know, divine right to rule. Like I say, the more you hear about this movement, the more crazy it becomes. And it just feels like, I don't know if people have ever heard of like a game called Hearts of Iron 4. But there's a path you can actually take if you play as Germany to essentially start a civil war started by you know, former Field Marshal August von Mackensen, and then eventually restore the Kaiser to power. And it is actually a fun route if you do decide to go down that path. It is quite a fun and challenging game if you do decide to do it. But yeah, it almost feels like, you know, you know, a crazy plot from a video game. It's it really does feel like it, to be honest. It's crazy, but unfortunately it just goes to show you, you know, there are a lot of groups out there that are planning very similar things. And if you may remember, during the peak goldfish COVID times. Up Hugh, good morning to you. It's a very frosty morning indeed. But if you may remember, during peak COVID times, there was the whole Daily Mail where they infiltrated a group in and around sort of the UK, looking at doing a very similar thing in the UK. Not obviously to restore like the monarchy, but essentially to, you know, bring down the government and, you know, end COVID restrictions. So yeah, it's just one of those things where there's a lot more crazy people around than you can sometimes think. And like I say, up until these arrests had happened, I had never ever heard of this movement. And I know we've got some maybe Germans in chat or just, you know, German viewers, and I'm not even sure how maybe much aware you guys sort of were of this movement. See, yeah, it's really strange. Just on it, yes, descendant from the kings of Poland. Oh, but it gets, and this is only some of the thing. Sane people in live streams, the rest are just nuts. Yeah. Yeah. Like I say, guys, please do remember to hit the like and share button while you're here. Like I say, it helps get more people into the stream, and then yeah, we get more sane people in the stream. No. Oh. So one of the crazy things about this, and this is where it gets, I think this is certainly one of the very worrying things I think that we need to keep an eye on, is the fact that this movement had reached out apparently to Vladimir Putin, because if they sort of initiated, you know, a civil war, as they will certainly hope to restore this, they were looking for some international support and legitimacy. And of course, of course Putin would sponsor these types of things. He wants, to fracture deeply Western democracy. So, oh great, they're tankies too. Well, that's the thing, they're not tankies, they're monarchists. They're Kaiserists. They wanted to bring back the Kaiserreich. They didn't want to restore the whole, shall we say, the Third Reich. They wanted to restore the Imperial Germany to power. They wanted full autocratist rule back in Germany, with the king in charge, appointing ministers and making all the key decisions. That's what they wanted. So they weren't tankies. Yeah, the First Reich, yeah. Oh no, it might have been. Oh, is it? I can't remember now. But yeah, like I say, this movement is like crazy, because they wanted to re-establish, the borders of 1981 Germany. You want to dry out, ready for Christmas. They fully wanted to sort of re-establish this Germany, and that would have mean certainly a war with France, because they were certainly would be after Alsace or Lorraine, because that's included in those borders. Poland, parts of Austria, certainly the Czech Republic, parts of there. Potentially even war with Russia, because obviously they've got Danzig. Yeah, like I say, the more you look at this movement, the more you're like, this is completely cuckoo for Cocoa Pops crazy. It blows my mind thinking that there were genuinely people out there like that. Oh, Ryzan, good morning to you. Yeah, Alsace-Lorraine again. Yeah. Yeah, looniness at its finest. Yeah, it really is. It really is, Chthonic. It's a level of craziness you don't often tend to see. And I know I'm going to piss off a lot of Scottish nationalists, but there are people in the SNP movement that not a couple of weeks ago now, I think was it last year, were trying to lay siege to Edinburgh Castle, so that they could make Scotland independent again. Bear in mind, there are crazy people all over the place, and sometimes they have power, other times they do not. But yeah, it's crazy. It really is. And bear in mind, just to add, the English's own craziness to it, because it wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be fair singling out, the crazy stuff that's going on in, Germany and Scotland. If you've ever heard of the Pendragon Society, this is a real thing. They want to essentially re-establish the Magna Carta. And the Magna Carta is like the founding constitutional doctrine of the UK. And yeah, they're really crazy. They tried to, I think it was 2018 or 2017. Yeah, the Pendragon Society. They tried to perform a citizen's arrest of Sadiq Khan a couple of years ago, and they brought a portable gallows with them. So, yeah, unfortunately, there are genuine crazies everywhere. Sometimes where you look, and sometimes they can be harmless. Sometimes, but then again, this whole Reichsbürger movement in Germany was treated to be, a group of crackpots and loons. And they tried to do a coup in Germany to restore the Kaiser in one of Germany's largest anti-terrorist raids since the Second World War. It's a bit crazy sometimes. The crazies can be everywhere sometimes. Stu K, good morning to you. Very welcome. Like I say, welcome to everyone. In here, like I say, please do remember to hit that like and share button as you are sort of settling in. Like I say, it helps get more people in chat and spreads the love. So, yeah, I think one of the worrying things I want to get back to actually is, obviously, they tried to get Putin in on this plot as well. So that's worrying for a certainty. But the other one was, I'm not sure how true this is, but apparently they reached out to more far-right movements in like Italy and France as well to try and get support from them as well. So like I say, this movement, I think, it's great that they've been sort of taken care of and, certainly aren't going to be a threat. But yeah, oh boy, was, the damage they could have potentially inflicted. Even if they had, failed in this. So it was certainly good of the German security services to be on this, and, to be taking care of it. So, yeah. George Ross, listening from Australia, good morning to you. Yeah, a lot of people prefer to live in an idealist past. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and to point of living in an idealist past where they wanted, to bring back the Kaiser, or at least restore the Kaiserreich in Germany. Yeah. Honestly, it's bizarre. And I think that we're going to hear probably more just how insane this group is in a couple of weeks' time, as all this stuff, starts to come out. And yeah, it's unbelievable that this even happened, or at least got to this point, honestly. But yeah, crazy. I'm a Brit into UK politics. Trump's in big trouble. Oh yes, I've heard about that as well. Ryzen, you've heard of Mari Tuzi before? He's a commentator from right-wing politics. Yes, I've heard of him before. I've never really covered him, but maybe we should at some point, because I know we've covered people like Jeff Taylor before in the past, and Andre Walker as well. Certainly could be interesting. I don't like him. I watch him to know how conservatives think. Yeah, that's why I read Conservative Home, because it's a fascinating insight into the into the Conservative Party. Stealth BMH, you sneaked in. Oh, but yes. So that's. I think we're thoroughly warmed up this morning. So yeah, on to the main event. What's been going on in the UK recently? Oh, so as most of you know, I've done a lot of videos about the Tory rebels, and certainly one of the things that I've wanted to really stress is that this is going to have consequences. Yeah, who's not striking there? Yeah, indeed. Who's not striking indeed? Oop, there we go. Get across there. But yeah, this is one of these weird moments where you've seen all this, you know, rebellions that are going on over, again, will I be on strike? Well, I don't think my striker would even count. UK has more strikes than the bowling alley. Yes. Yes, we do. Like I say, it is better, I think someone said it in chat, it's better to really ask who's not on strike, to be honest. But yeah, I've been sort of really talking the Militant Bowler Hat Union. So yeah, the crazy part of all this is I've been telling you about the Tory rebels and that these are going to certainly make their presence felt, because the Tory party is, as we've been saying for a while now, is so fractured, so completely fractured, that Sunak cannot in any way, shape or form control his own party. And it will make trying to pass any significant policy incredibly hard, for one, and next to impossible for another. Because you've got so many different competing factions that they will throw up as many obstacles as they can. Oh. Surprisingly, these swans are still here. Let's save. So let's take what's been going on. So you've no doubt heard that one of the big Tory rebellions, led in fact by Boris Johnson and Liz Truss, both putting their name to this amendment of trying to lift the ban on onshore wind. Something which, by the way, either of them could have done when they were Prime Minister, but made no attempt to do. So bear that in mind. So this whole amendment, on this rebel amendment, was trying to be put in to try and get this onshore wind farm ban lifted. Now, I think that's, to be honest, at least a good, admittance that yes, the UK needs onshore wind farms and offshore wind farms as well, because that would certainly help with the energy crisis, but it's a little bit too late. Because by the time these places, get greenlit and built, we would at least hope that we're not in this energy crisis in a bit. But of course, we would have at least some more green energy being generated by onshore wind farms. So, sometimes, even though it's a Tory, you've got to at least say, well, okay, guys, at least you recognise that fact. And if you may remember, back when the Australian general election happened and the Australian Conservatives lost, there was a guy from the Australian Conservative Party wrote a big think piece for Conservative Home, saying that one of the reasons why his party lost in Australia was because they didn't pay any attention to the green agenda, and that they completely ignored it, and that the UK Tories should ignore like net zero or these green energy wants of their people at their own peril, because the Australian Conservatives paid the price for not following it. So there was certainly this rebel amendment put forward, and it seemed at the 11th hour that Sunak had capitulated to it, that he had given in, and that now amendment is now in the Levelling Up bill to lift the ban on onshore wind farms. But as I said, the big problem becomes this: you have so many factions in the Tory party that if one faction or one group gets their way, another will want their their ideas or their bit of ideas or power as well. So I highly suspect that our old pal and friend Steve Baker, the former head of the ERG, now head of the Net Zero Group, was watching this rebellion with some interest, because their whole thing is that these green energy policies, the whole net zero, they're massively climate skeptical. They don't want it. Even Farage has jumped on this bandwagon, saying that there should be a referendum on net zero. Deploying the exact same tactics they used over Euroscepticism. And you may remember we saw during the Tory leadership contest as well a rising from the Green Tories when Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss abandoned their green pledges, and these Green Tories came out and said, no, you can't do this. What are you doing? We won't vote for you if you do this. So there are all these different factions, and the net zero one, I think, had been watching this onshore wind farm ban being lifted with great closeness of it, because only about 24 hours, that's how long it took, about 24 hours after this had been announced that the onshore wind farm ban had been lifted. 24 hours later, what do we see? Michael Gove walking into Parliament as the Levelling Up Minister to approve a new coal mine in Cumbria that, as we are apparently told, is not going to be used for providing power. It's instead going to be used for coking coal and used in steelmaking productions. And essentially, why would you have a ban on onshore wind farms anyway? That goes back to David Cameron and the whole NIMBYism debate. For those of you who don't know, the acronym NIMBYism stands for Not in My Backyard. And of course, you've got YIMBYism, which is yes in my backyard. Trust me, become very familiar with those shorthand terms, because this, I think, is going to be a big fight, certainly in the Conservative Party for some times to come. So remember that. NIMBYism, not in my backyard, and YIMBYism, yes, in my backyard. Remember those terms. They will probably be hearing those quite a lot in the near future. So they were ultimately watching this. And as I said, 24 hours they got this coal mine. Because I heavily suspect that once this ban had been lifted, the Net Zero Scrutiny Group, which is quite a big, again, powerful bloc in the Conservative Party, will have said, right, you've lifted the ban on onshore wind. We're going to rebel over that unless you give us something in return. And I can almost certainly guarantee that this new coal mine was given away to essentially head off another potential Tory rebellion. So, you'll have to excuse me, I'm going to concentrate quite a bit, because as you well know, normally this path is like super muddy, but because it's been so torn up, it's so frozen now, it's even difficult to walk on while frozen. So forgive me if I don't answer anyone's questions or anything like that. Here, it's it's a bit crazy. Oh, there we go. So this new coal mine essentially was extracted as a concession from the Net Zero Group, basically in return of, well, we'll, shall we say, allow this ban to be lifted so long as we get that particular coal mine. And of course, what was even more bizarre was that when Michael Gove came out to give his statement, of course, if you saw or heard anything about it, he broke the ministerial code because he had not entered the report that he was referring to into the official record. To which Lindsay Hoyle, the Speaker of the House, had to suspend Parliament for over 15 minutes while they tried to sort this out. So remember that. Michael Gove broke the ministerial code to essentially try and get through passing this coal mine, potentially with as little response and as little retort as possible. Like I say, Labour and even the opposition didn't even know this was being announced, because it would normally be in the business of the parliamentary day, and they would, be able to have the ability to scrutinise it and stuff like that. But Michael Gove didn't do that. He essentially broke the ministerial code trying to do that. Yeah, no, it's just an honest mistake. But like I say, you hear about this stuff, and they're claiming that it's not going to be used for power. But I'm very sceptical about why. because it's meant to be used for sort of coking coal, which is one of the big things for the steel industry. But as we've said before about decarbonising the British steel industry, and the thing is, if you decarbonise the steel industry, you no longer need this coal. And if Michael Gove had any genuine, balls about him, he would have announced that he was moving forward with decarbonising the steel industry, which would have put Britain well ahead of any other country in doing this, apart from Sweden, who has themselves announced that they are going to start this, but they haven't done this yet. So this coal, and even the British steel industry, turned around and said, yeah, this coal from this mine that we're going to be extracting, yeah, we can't actually use it because it's not the correct type of coking coal to use. So this mine that is being opened to benefit the British steel industry can't actually use the coal that's being made. So yeah, this entire coal mine is essentially basically a response from the Tory rebels. And as I said, I've been making the point to you, these rebellions are just going to keep on going like this. They will extract concessions, someone else will want something else completely different, and it's just complete and absolute utter chaos. It's the party is just completely ungovernable. Oh, good morning to you, Tom. So the party is in absolute chaos. It is completely and utterly ungovernable beyond any reasonable doubt. Like, you cannot, you cannot govern this party in any way, shape or form. Sunak has shown that he has absolutely no authority in his party. Partly because they all suspect they're going to lose the next general election. So why should I be loyal to Sunak? Time to, deploy the ideological wings and just, sail on those and, try and at least maybe look for a job while they're at that. Oh, number 3, good morning to you. And yes, good morning to everyone else that I haven't seen yet. If I've missed you, I do apologise. Like I say, walking on this very churned up path is quite difficult. Because like I say, it ain't flat. So I do apologise if I've missed any of your comments or wishing me a good morning or anything like that. I do apologise. But like I say, I'm going to try and concentrate and stay up. So I highly suspect we are going to see more of this stuff happen. Of a rebellion happens, they extract concessions, and then another group will come in and say, we want a concession as well. And I have said multiple times that, look, Sunak's government is incredibly unstable. And that I think these rebellions could certainly be a source of potentially bringing him down. Indeed, his entire government could potentially come tumbling down. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that we could see that happen. Just, I remember when Thatcher closed down the mines where I lived. Yeah. Who knew Tories would be opening up coal mines? What a bizarre twist. what a very bizarre twist. But yeah, it's crazy. It really is. But this just goes to speak to the sheer. This just speaks to the sheer insanity and the ungovernability of the current Tory party. And even now, Sunak has absolutely no control. And then we get onto the issue about the strikes. Because the strikes could also be a victim of these Tory rebellions. There could generally be Tories who want to see these strikes continue because they will see it essentially as a way to try and pass more anti-union, more, quote, pro-business legislation. So these strikes that we have seen being essentially fomented, some cases from what we have heard, especially with the recent train strikes, we have heard that apparently there was a deal literally on the table and the government came in and scuppered it at the last minute because they did not want that deal to succeed. And these strikes, by the way, are potentially another reason why Sunak could be brought down. Because it's not beyond the realms of possibility, because there was a Labour government back in, 1978, 79, that was brought down by a general strike. And at this point, I think the question should be asked, are we in a general strike? Because it certainly feels like it, with even the border force. I don't know if you've heard about this, the British border force, the people who are in charge of operating and running the borders of the UK are going on strike to a point where they're having to bring in the British Army to be able to look after the borders. You've got nurses on strike, there are teachers on strike, a lot of businesses and people are going on strike. So yeah, it's crazy. Right, and do you think Labour can get a majority in 2023 or 24 without Scotland or going to a hung parliament? Yes, I think they absolutely can. If you look at the polls, although bear in mind the polls were also what did Theresa May in 2017, if you remember that election. There we go. So we certainly have to watch certainly the polls, but the recent by-election in Chester does give a lot of hope. It does deliver a lot of hope on that front. And I've said it before and we'll say it again, there's a lot of people who just they want the current government to change, but they don't want to vote for the party that ultimately will really actually deliver some change. And that if you don't get out and you campaign and and start sticking your boot in, getting involved in sort of politics, not only just at that but even at a local level, you won't actually get that change. So yeah, but I don't want to go off on that one today, because we did that last week. We did that last week. So yeah, it is, I think, something that could really take down Sunak. because I've said there are three big things at the moment that could generally take him down. You've got the fact that the current Conservative Party is completely ungovernable. He just may have such a big and just rebellion, or just a rebellion on top of another rebellion against another part of a rebellion that was against something that's, that Sunak wanted to pass. It could just become so unruly that they just have to go into a general election. That could literally be their only way out of it. You've then got the potential of all these strikes coming together. That the strikes do become a general strike, and that it is, as people have put it, that it is a it sort of becomes a general strike, and that this takes down Rishi Sunak. It is potentially that the strike, although I think the strikes taking down Sunak could certainly be a long but slowly drawn out one, certainly, that's for sure. But if this could also, as we said, play into the whole rebellion thing, because it is true that the RMT, the rail bosses, had a deal on the table that could have ended these strikes, and then the government comes in at the final moment and says, nope, not doing it. What happens if these rebels start to meddle in more of these strikes? Do you think the British public are going to be, happy about that? I don't think so. So, like I say, that could certainly play into it. And of course, the final thing is we have had this PPE scandal that has been rumbling on for the past week or so. This is a story that seems to certainly be a very slow sleeper, because, to be honest, it's quite a complicated one. And I think that's why it hasn't certainly got the legs that it has had to really charge the front of people's minds, because it's very, very sort of complicated. But in reality, it's sort of not. Public money was sort of given away in a VIP lane to a Tory minister, essentially, or at least member of the House of Lords. And it seems that this money was then squirreled away, while the equipment that they were meant to be buying for it was given to us at a very inflated price. Like I say, it does seem like it shouldn't be a complicated story, but if you've read into any of it, it is actually a very, very complicated story at the moment, involving a lot of strange and orchestrated financial rules. So I can understand why it hasn't, but very quickly, this has already implicated a lot of sort of high-level Tories. There's Michael Gove, that maybe has his own PPE scandal in the works. So there's a lot of stuff going on in certainly that area. Morning. That could certainly cause a lot of trouble. And if this does start implicating people like Rishi Sunak being involved, because after all, he was the Chancellor of the Exchequer, he was the one sort of, signing the money off. There is a big potential that this could take down the money, the government as well. So don't be under any illusion that there are big problems Rishi Sunak and his government are going to have to face. And any one of those could generally seriously take down his government. So it is, as I've often described Sunak's government, it's a house of cards built on quicksand on an earthquake fault line. That's really the state that we're in sort of British politics. And as I said before, I really think there's going to be a general election next year. I think everyone can feel it. Because I don't see how Sunak manages to keep any of his party together. The fact that he has absolutely zero political authority. The fact that this whole coal mine is a perfect reason to see, if he hadn't given to them that coal mine, the net zero scrutiny group would have popped up and they would have started causing rebellions demanding this coal mine. So that's why, like I say, 24 hours after this this raising was announced, 24 hours you get the coal mine announcement. Like I say, it happened very, very fast. Like I say, thumb up for the pony. Oh. Like I say, thumbs up for the pony. But yes, we have such an unstable government that it could just go, and it's what causes it to go is the big thing. Like I say, no one foresaw, of course, what would take down Boris Johnson. We were predicting it could be this, it could be that, this could be the moment that brings him down. So we don't know what could be the thing that brings down Rishi Sunak, but the fact that he's currently trying to sail all these things could be very bad. Partygate, well, that would probably be the COVID inquiry that is going on. That could bring Sunak down. That is right, but Sunak could just turn around and say, "Well, I wasn't in charge." He wasn't a quote decision maker. So that is entirely possible. That he could just turn around and say that. The COVID inquiry will cause a lot of trouble for the Tories, that is undoubtedly certain. But will it be enough to take them down? Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see. Yeah, and of course, as we said before, the PPE scandal, that could very easily take Sunak down. Like I say, we don't know. We don't know. It could be a mixture of all things that ends up taking him down. So it's just a question of what, when, and maybe how. So don't worry, we'll be keeping an eye on it. That's certainly for sure. Like I say, as always, guys, thank you very much, as always, for tuning in and joining us, as always, on a good morning walk. Like I say, I think next week will be the last one before Christmas. I think it is. I can't remember. But, yeah. That will certainly be a good one, of course. So, as always, guys, like I say, please do remember to hit that like and share button on your way out. Down below, there are links to my Patreon page, my one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. I'm certainly going to have a coffee when I get back today. Will there be an end-of-year wrap-up? Yes, there will be. There will be an end-of-year wrap-up. And I think, I haven't confirmed it, I might be on the Sunday, is it the Sunday roast we call it now? I can't remember. But I might be on that soon. I can't remember now. I've said yes, I'd be on it, but I can't remember when I said yes, I'd be on it again. So it could, but yeah, so I might be on there soon. But yes, as always, guys, like I say, thank you very much for supporting the channel. Thank you very much to all the Pony Clubbers. Like I say, if you want to join the Pony Club, there is a link down below to join that. BHM, do you read back the live chat comments? Yes, I do when I remember. So, yeah, as always, guys, like I say, thank you very much for helping support the channel. Like I say, there's the YouTube thank you button down below. There's all kinds of stuff, like I say, down below in the comments that sort of help support the channel. So even if you do just hit the like and share button, that does help support the channel as well. So, like I say, guys, thank you very much for joining us all today. We'll see you next week for the Good Morning Walk before Christmas, I think we might call it. And of course, as always, guys, thank you very much for joining me today. And of course, we'll see you all very soon. All the cool kids go pony clubbing. Very, very, very true. So as always, guys, like I say, thank you very much for joining us. Oh yes, yeah, go France, go France. As always, guys, like I say, thank you very much for joining us. And yes, we'll see you all very soon.